Every time the blood runs to my head, I hear the ring. Something to remind me that I'm not dead or caught in between. I listen to the voice and what it says is never sweet. Something I was born into, I guess, living in me. Every time I take another breath, I feel the sting. Everyone around it seems so numb, and yet I feel everything. NeverLand. What is up? Everybody's favorite bad guy here. Creepy Superman. Creepy. That's creepy. Rant to Own, Part 12. About to grab my cup of shut the hell up. You know the drill. Parents, guardians, responsible adults. Get your kids out of the room. Language warning. You have 5 seconds. Maybe 7 seconds. That's the goods. Okay. Rant to Own, Part 12. Before I start, a shout out to, I think, 3 people that sent me a message on when is this one coming out. Hi. This one's for you. Stifling. Stifling and filters. The human condition, on top of that. Not being perfect as a human being. I sure as fuck am not perfect as a human being. I barely like being a human being. I like being, but I barely like being human. It's kind of funny. Because a lot of humans that came before us really set the bar in a really bad way. Not exactly the best role models to have in a lifetime. A couple nights ago, NeverLand, I made the mistake of speaking with no filter, of not stifling. Now normally a few people wouldn't see that as a bad thing, because you should always be honest. It's always that morality side of you on the inside as a human being. You should always be honest with your fellow brother and sister, right? I don't know if you guys can feel when I say something like that. You can feel my rebellious nature going, yeah, but say it. You know what I mean? Like on the inside of me. I'm very anti-system. I'm very... Ever since I was a child, I'm very like anti-this, anti-that. I have so many antis that sometimes it clouds your judgment, especially when you're having a few wobble pops, and you had a couple. Shout out to a really old friend of mine. His name's Tony. I'm going to name drop him. I want to thank him for further setting the bar for self-respect and for honor, because I am based on honor and respect. I want to thank him for being the voice in my head at that point that tells me, you know better. I know he probably doesn't watch these, but I always think about him every time a tough situation comes up in a moral sense. Because it's nice to have people in your life, though I will say this as a disclaimer. It's nice to have people in your life that will at least point you and try to point you in the right direction because of their past experience for themselves. to pass on some advice that they were given maybe by their parents or, you know, whoever. It's nice to have people like that around in your life that help point you and help your focus to the right direction for yourself. As much as I'm an anti-establishment, anti-this, anti-that, rebellious nature, as much as I'm that way, that's the way it goes. It's just, that's the way I mean it when I say that. I go towards respect, honor, decency. A couple nights ago, I got really pissed off, and I got to the glow point, buzzed out, but then a little bit past the glow point, and that's where there's no filter. Truth serum, right? Alcohol. The cause and solution to all of life's problems. I gotta be careful. This is where I tell myself off, because I am an honest human being. I don't lie very well. I gotta be careful. Not only did I make a video that 3 people saw, that one good friend of mine laughed at and thought it was funny, and I could see the humor in that. Actually, it was pretty funny. I'm always careful, at least I'm always careful not to name drop anybody when I'm upset. Now, when I say upset, I mean it's legit upset, like things that legitimately upset you. I've always had a problem with, and I've always told you guys too, right to your face, man. Well, right to this camera. Always said, I promised to try not to stifle. Well, that's a bad example of making a vlog and then making some Facebook status rant. We're all guilty of doing it. We're all guilty of just going over and above. And now I'm going to take a second here. This is the smart adult thing to do. I'm going to take a second and think about things before I say them. Excuse me. Yeah, because it's the right thing to do. I always believe in the right thing to do. I always try to do the right thing. Because again, it's part of my nature as a child. I was taught by a very, very deep person to always just be yourself. Fuck everybody else. Just be yourself. Take care of you, you know. And that was my dad. But he was a very old school, old-fashioned type of guy. Funny as all hell, though. I think that's where I get some of my sense of humor. But, very dry, very sarcastic. No. You haven't met the rest of my family, have you? You gotta be careful what you say when you say it. Especially if you live like I do, if you live on the cuff, like your heart's on your sleeve and you're fresh right off the cuff of something. Especially while you experience the emotion of rage. I'll be honest with you, since I was a teenager, I've always suffered from anger issues. Now that I'm older, I don't really have the same issues, but you'll always have that one thing about you that just likes to linger, you know, and that would be it. It's an anger thing. Again, I think it was handed down to me by experienced individuals that also have been through a rough time in their lives too, and I was always there for them, at least. At the very least, I was always there for somebody else that needed me, or maybe didn't need me at all, but just needed a shoulder or somebody to talk to. Herein lies the problem. A human being can only take so much fucking bullshit at the same time. Now, by fucking bullshit, I mean stress. either from your own life, what you're doing, your output into input. Input is huge. This is where problems start to happen. This is where it starts to go funny. For those of you that like to say that, oh, my life's perfect and wonderful and I'm happy and I'm happy. Now, that's cool, because I wish that for you. I want that for you guys out there. NeverLand. It's part of the reason why I call you NeverLand. You still know not what you do, you know. And that's, see, there's a good example right there. I'm not perfect. I can take on a lot at the same time. I can multitask and, you know, me, I this, I that. Yeah, sure. And I've got a hard time with boasting about myself, you know. And again, it ties in with just being a child, and, you know, the inner child gets angry, and you carry that inner child that's angry with you, you know, into the adult years, and watch the fucking fireworks fly, man, simply because, like I said before, it all depends on what you take in for yourself, what you can handle, and then some. It takes a special motherfucking person to really tap into, not only at the same time, not only recognizing what they are, but what they take care of at the same time. It's just layers and layers and fucking layers of bullshit. I thought I was better than that. If you can't make fun of somebody else, make fun of somebody else while you're making fun of yourself, you know? I thought I was better than that. I thought I had more class than that, than to just shoot my mouth off. And I haven't shot my mouth off in a long time like that. Contrary to popular belief, by the way, fuck you. You don't spend time with me, you don't know me. So that's just another layer of bullshit. There's so many different, it's like a, you know, so many different layers of bullshit. And it gets to a person, you know. Every little tiny thing just nitpicks at you, it gets to you. I don't fucking care who you think you are. You could be a nun, you could be a fucking monk, I don't fucking care. It'll get to you. And if you don't have a positive outlet to let go of that stress, and if you don't have people, and another good friend of mine brought up a really good point not too long ago, we were talking about it. If you don't have people for yourself to authenticate and validate who you are through them, you're going to have anger issues. You're going to have a hard time with stress. It's all about just getting rid of stress. Just, you know. But there's a better way to do that than just shoot off at the mouth. Especially when you're going through feeling something like that. I should know better. So, I should know better. Let me go behind this video window where I'm watching myself. Fuck, I look like a hot mess, I know. I'm gonna go back to, if you'll indulge me for a second, which you already are, thank you. I really appreciate you watching. This feels good, man. This is good. This is very, again, therapeutic. And when I put up my Facebook status rant, at the same time I had that video up, I gotta be careful with that shit. I replaced it with, you know what? Sometimes it's just best to shut your mouth, because you never know what kind of influence it would have. I choose to show some class and observe from the corner. You have to remind yourself unselfishly that you're better than that. I choose the high road. And I left that up. And I also posted a song directly underneath my old guitar player, actually current guitar player. I really shouldn't talk about it, but Nathan Harris, good fella, man, good lad. I love him to death. Love him. He said, good choice, brother. And underneath that, I put one of my old favorites from a band called The Odds, The Truth Untold. If you're on my Facebook, go check it out. It's a great song. From the 90s, of course. I mean, duh. And my mother, she said, integrity, my son. And, yeah. But before that, though, a friend of mine, Roxanne, who I love to death, dearly, she said, I don't remember because I had to remove it because of the language on it. I know. hypocrite, but there's pastors and kids on my Facebook. You gotta, time out. Roxy said she had a really good paragraph in there, and she really had a good point. Long story short, it said, fuck doing the right thing sometimes. She's right. Sometimes you just gotta say, fuck it. Just throw your fucking heart right to the wind, man, and just watch where it lands. I'm surrounded by really good people. And by good people, I'm not saying, oh, they're there. You're awesome. Okay, Timmy, off you go. No. Good, salty the earth people. People that have been through harsh experiences, harsh relationships, I appreciate the fuck out of them, because at least they're honest with me. And by the same theory, they just come out and say, and they can, and I encourage everybody to do that. They come out and say the same thing to me that I try to convey to them. Just bam, no filter. That's love to me. That's how I grew up. That's love. That's actually respecting somebody. You're not insulting their intelligence or their integrity. But what I did, I don't think was the right thing to do. So I took down the video. A person that, there's like 3 people that saw it, but the person that, one of my good buddies from Toronto, he knows who he is. Speaking of good people out there, that's 1 out of 2. He thought it was funny, he laughed, and I can see the humor. I can definitely see the humor. And I believe he found that funny because, he could relate to something rough that he went through, That's the idea that I wanted to convey, but the message. It wasn't necessarily the medium. It's not the medium. It's the message. It's me fucking spewing. So, I don't know what I was thinking. Since I'm very anti-everything, anti-establishment, anti-this. The rebellious inner child. We're going fucking deep now. I mean, that's the inner child. I sound like Dr. Phil. For fuck's sakes. Not a real doctor, in my opinion, by the way. The angry inner child happens to come out when I should just be stifling. Now, those of my hardcores that are watching me right now, again, my hardcores, you're not a possession. I didn't bonk you on the head and made you watch these things. Thanks for watching, though. I don't know if I'm even saying that right, but they know when it comes down to stifling, and every time I even say the word stifle or filter, I go, right? Ugh. It's the same thing as convenience, the other bad C word, right? Rebel. I should have stifled or slapped a filter on what I was doing. Or better yet, when I get past that glow point, don't go on fucking camera. Because that was very irresponsible of me. Simply put. No matter how I feel, which, I have a hard time saying that too. I'm very intense and passionate about feelings, how I feel. And that was instilled in me because, speaking of stifling, I've been held back emotionally for such a long time that it just goes, you know what I mean? Like, boom, your mind's blown. Again, heart in my sleeve. I'm just more vocal than most people. And I'm in a position now that I need to show more class and more responsibility. I'm not saying being a beacon of hope for anybody, because this is a face for radio. What's up, Rob? Doing great, by the way, buddy. I know you're watching. Hi. Love you. I had a really good talk with, because I went back into work on my night off. I'm not on until Saturday at 4, so I've had it the last couple of days off. I've had time to think about my actions. Had a really good talk with a buddy of mine. By the way, The Blind Chronicles on YouTube right here. He's in my featured spot. Just go to my homepage on my channel. He's right there to the right. Had a really good chat with Ryan. I love the guy because he has the same sort of way of thinking that I do, where you just process. You talk, but you process. We get along so great because we're honest assholes, you know. And it's great because he helped put in perspective what I felt that night, you know, after I had a rough one, and he keeps me grounded, you know. I think we're good for each other that way. I mean, dare say, sorry, big man, but don't mean to speak for you, but you know, we have a really good relationship with each other that way. We also work together long hours of the night. We'll be doing it this weekend too, Saturday, Sunday, which I'm looking forward to because it's always fun. You know, we just goof. We go through harsh stuff, but we just goof. You know, we get things done though. And that's the ideal way to, like I was saying before, to handle stressful situations. The layers of bullshit. That's how you handle it. That's for me. That sets the bar because there's nothing better than that. I mean, like, yeah, what you're going through sucks, and the people that are around you piss you off all the time. But that's the way you handle it. You just, you know, you just do it. You don't bitch about it. You do it. You know, we can bitch all we want to while we get things done. You know what I mean? And that's the way it is. And that's why I appreciate Big Man because, well, there you go. Shout out to you, Big Man. Go check his channel out. I gotta really sit back and think about things. How am I doing lately? No, not so good. You know, it's because of the layers of bullshit. It's because of, and I always beat myself up. It's because of the layers of bullshit and my output. It's not the intake. The intake will always be a problem. There's no, and that's the human control factor too that I've always mentioned. You can't control. You shouldn't control what's going on around you, you know, because that leads to an ego, and the ego leads to rage, and the rage leads to drinking, and the drinking leads to spewing. So, if anything else, at least I'm honest with you folk, NeverLand, about what my processes are, and that I'm not perfect, and I'm the first person to tell you that. I'm even doing this in a public forum. And I can still see my mother's comment, integrity, my son. Integrity. Exactly. Love you, Mom. Thank you. But as far as that goes, I should fucking know better. So, we'll just put a pin on that for myself, right? Put a pin on that. And really analyze, like just be self-analytical on a few things. And really hone in on where my intensity level is being focused on, or where the energy is being put into, rather, I guess, lack of a better one. Things have been tough. I will say this though. A, you think you know somebody. And B, and it goes back to the note that I have in my Facebook, the POP, positions of power. And I'm just generalizing this as a disclaimer, so don't get offended. Oh shit! Fuck. The help that, hopefully for you guys, the help that you have helps you. All you can do is be there for them and help them. I'm always proud as fucking shit to say that. Because I dedicate a lot of my energy and focus on helping others. So again, you would think I would know better. You think I'd show some class and observe from the corner, right? I gotta remind myself. This is why this is therapeutic, because I have things on record that I've said that I should remember, right? So lesson learned. If there's any further problems in those circumstances, you just got to know who to talk to and how to bring up the problem, and be honest with those that either pay you or you respect, that are your elders and stuff that you not necessarily answer to, but do things for. How about that? I'm trying to generalize that. You know what I meant. I will say this though. If these problems continue, if you guys out there understand what I'm saying, and you have problems that just constantly kick you in the ass, and take yourself out of the equation. Life's too short to be that angry all the time. Take it from one who knows. Creepy Superman. Right? That is the best inside joke in the world, because that is basically representative of what I just said. You got to take yourself out of the equation if the water gets too hot. Because, and I'm just speaking for me, because a lot of the compound problems, the ones that just keep happening over and over and over and over, it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon, the problems will still happen. And if you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drive either. But keep in mind, you're a human being. Keyword being. Be the right example out there for those that might need you, that you might not even are aware that they need you. Be helpful, be humble, be kind, be polite. Use your please and thank yous. Have some integrity. It's in you to give. So as far as stifling is concerned, I hope that puts that in perspective for at least somebody out there, as well as myself. Lesson learned. And I always have to learn the lessons the fucking hard way. Because I'm passionate, I'm intense, and I have an opinion. But at the same time, I have to remind myself that right now I'm not wearing pants, I'm wearing shorts. I'm wearing something that don't have a zipper. So, I will say this in closing though. Make sure the help that's in the position to help you can actually help you and not hinder you or hold you back. And if you have issues with rage and anger, there are people in your life, or there are people in the phone book that can help. Keep that in mind, kids. Thank you for watching me. Thank you for believing in yourself. Thank you for being such a good, small community. And hopefully you took out of something what I said for yourself, that if you have not only focus issues, but if you have stifling issues, if you understand what I'm saying because you can relate, hopefully you can find your own way. That's what life's about, man. Finding your own way, doing your own thing, doing what you want to do, regardless of what you're doing at the moment. You gotta make yourself happy, man. You gotta at least keep yourself stable and don't fuck up to the point where you feel guilt for what you just did. Even though that's a human condition too. It's a repeated process. It'll happen over and over. It's being human. Human being. I want to thank you for supporting me. I think that's the fucking coolest thing in the world, man. Call me a cheeseball. But I love it when you guys send me messages and you goof with me, right? And we're sitting there talking back and forth, or call me on the phone or whatever. Keep that up. It means the world to me. I just hope it means the world to you. Be well out there. Take care of yourselves. Keep the content coming. Some of those channels that I watch, you know who you are. Keep the content coming. Let's just be good to each other and be there for each other. How about that? But not losing yourself at the same time. Sound good? Oh, it's good to get off my chest, man. Thanks for indulging me. Until next time, remember, if you're working too hard, you're doing it wrong. Superman. I got it right again. Gucci Gucci. I don't know what the hell that is. Bad guy. I love you guys. Thank you.